Okay, back for a little bit delayed our 11 o'clock meeting. We'll start building and planning. Tracy.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy Jackson, Director of Building and Planning. With me is Wayne Nelson, Planning Manager. We just have some updates and just more agenda items. Make sure the board doesn't have any questions before tomorrow. On the consent agreement, we worked with Environmental Health and the Board of Health, the Board of Commissioners, and it's the call for public meeting or call for public hearing on July 11th. And that's the RV campground, RV ordinance.
That's the one where HHS, they separated out from the other.
Yes, because Board of Health has to adopt one, Board of Commissioners has to adopt the other.
Yeah.
And it's a joint.
So we've seen that one and they were waiting to,
Yes.
you guys are ready to go before it all come
Correct.
through. Okay.
Yep. So there was a call for hearing for that tomorrow. Also on the consent is a amendment number 2 with parametrics, and that is the hydrogeology study. And that's the WIRA 27 Woodland. We have them on contract in case DOE does anything with our watershed plan up in the south region of our county. And we also have an amendment with Tom McDonald we already have in place, but this is just extending the date for parametrics until the end of next year, just so we have them on contract if needed. That's those. And then the motion item, I don't know if you want to talk about them now. It's the zero emission, the EV charging station.
Yeah.
When Adam and Wayne and I were up here the last time, we talked about the Cougar area. We also have interest on Spirit Lake Highway at Drew's Grocery as well. So we changed the language and made it kind of all inclusive, and we will submit to the state and even see if we get the grant. And then if we get the grant, then we'll see if one and or both want to be included in that EV station grant.
In general, policies don't do very well when we don't do a holistic view of what the costs are.
Mhm.
So when you advertise this as a zero emission solution, I would say if you can avoid using zero emissions, don't, because the electricity has to come from someplace. And we don't know where that is from. Well, here it's probably the BPA or something, but so it probably is truly zero emissions, but all right, I'll get off my soapbox.
I think that's the grant title from DOT.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was just the verbiage was used.
right.
Yeah,
I suspected you had no choice.
it wasn't mine.
Yeah.
You probably would prefer quotation marks between zero emission, right?
Yeah,
You could probably do that.
no,
Yeah.
just leave it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not, we talked about this and I expressed my ideas on how this all takes place, and I'll probably express those tomorrow, but I just right up front, I'm not picking on Adam or anything like that. I think if we can help these communities, we'll help them. I just don't like the fact that government tries to mandate what we do.
And that's kind of how we're looking at it as well. We have an
Yeah.
opportunity to help the citizens, yes.
Yeah. So I
that
guess what I'm
means, we
saying,
don't know at this
I don't want him, I'm telling you up front, I'm not here to pick on him and I don't want him to feel picked
We're
on.
fair
I
game.
just-
Pick
I'm
away.
just, voicing an opinion.
We're fair game.
He's
Okay.
speaking only for himself.
Yeah.
And I have 2 miscellaneous items. Paradise Cove, almost daily, or if not a couple times a day, I'm getting dinged from Mr. Johnson. Still has several concerns. My building official is working with Cowlitz 2. They're gonna do a site visit tomorrow, and they're gonna try to remedy some more concerns. So we'll see what happens, but we are still addressing them with the fire district, but the park is being very cordial and working with us. So we're doing everything we can and just giving the board an update.
Yeah, no, I believe you are.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming that he'll be here tomorrow. We'll see. And
Well,
then,
they should show up for the hearing.
yeah,
I mean, that's their opportunity to,
well, it's just a
Have
call.
input.
It's just a call for hearing though. It's
Well,
just setting the
tomorrow's
date.
just a call for
Yeah, it's
hearing,
just setting
but
the date.
I'm-
So my
yeah.
assumption was he'll be here in July. Yeah. And staffing update, we're excited that, we advertised, not even 2 weeks. We got a lot of applications for our assistant, associate planner, environmental planner position. We made an offer last week and he accepted, and he's coming from New Hampshire. Yeah, we're very excited. 5-year veteran, 2 years of planning experience as a student intern, if I'm saying all that, grad assistant. And so coming in, loves the Northwest and ready to put some roots down. So we're excited to get Cody involved and on board. And then our permit specialists, we have 2 open, and
Before you go,
Yeah.
go on, I'm curious about the, I guess, the down home values that this recruit from New Hampshire will bring. Is he going to try to New Englandize Towns County, or is he,
I don't think
does he
so.
understand that it's customer first rather than we shall tell you what to do?
he is very much customer focused. That is my first criteria when I look at applicants. But what he's currently been doing, he works through the hospital and he's an outreach person. So he's very customer oriented. So we have that in our back pocket as
Great.
well. We're very excited.
Thank you.
Yes. And then permitting, we have a ton of applications, a ton. We have a couple interviews scheduled this week already. We have more applications to go through. So we're hoping to get through those we're hoping this week. We'll see. And then with the holiday, we're not quite sure how this is all going to work, but we think we will have somebody on board hopefully in the next couple weeks. So
It seems like something has happened out there to get a lot more applications.
it's
coming in.
exciting for us because we have applications to choose from. It's fantastic and a lot of experience too. So we were surprised. I mean, Cody's coming to us with a master and experience, and yeah, so
And we haven't been raising salaries particularly, have we?
No.
I mean, not to try to attract it.
we're just making this a great place to work.
They know you're in charge.
We've offered them
Not
part,
about that, but we're
we've
just
offered them part of yours while you were up in Quebec.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
whatever works.
Take all the retirement I don't get that you want.
Yeah, that's it. You guys have questions for us?
I do have a quick question, just so I prepared if I get any more requests. You and I both looked at the property out Climber River Road
Yes,
with that trailer there.
we both did.
Yeah, and where's that, how's that process go from
So we will,
there?
there was nothing. It's the trailer with the 4x4. There's nothing that building and planning needs, but we've sent them to Andre with environmental health. And it's basically a Hulk trailer, but there's somebody living in there.
Somebody living there and
Yep. And then Patrick and Susan have been involved with the right of way. And I know
Okay.
Patrick had mentioned also that prior that they had worked with the post office because the mailboxes are right there as well. So that was a concern at one time. So I don't know where that stands post office wise, but right away. And then of course, I mean, it's just very
Just-
unsafe
just
to
in
have
case
that 4x4 behind the trailer.
it's
Why
just like
anyone would walk in the back
questions.
of that trailer is beyond me. I wouldn't do it, but
Yeah.
it's very much worth a drive by just to see it because I was blown away with the 4x4.
Yeah,
But it is somebody that's working on one of the houses down below, down that driveway. So I think that's part of why it's I don't love my neighbor. And so one of the workers of the neighbors is living in that trailer while they're working on one of the
Yeah.
homes and they don't get along.
but yeah. But as you go out there, there's plenty of legitimate RV places you can reside if
There
that's
are.
truly what you're doing, working
There
on
are,
somebody's home.
absolutely.
So to have it sit like it is and to me, obviously not hooked up to sewer, although they're dumping into something.
And that's the problem. That's why I referred him to environmental health to
Yeah.
work with Andrea.
Okay,
So a question on that, you say obviously dumping into something, that's an inference as opposed to an observation.
observation.
So you saw,
Well, I can see the handle open and I can see it's into something.
In the ground.
It looks like it could be a big barrel or something.
You couldn't smell anything or?
No.
like that?
No.
You can't really get close to that side because it's a cliff down of where the issues are.
Because it's a what? I'm sorry.
Cliff.
Down to the Klamath River.
There's a 4x4 planted in the black to hold up the back end of the
Okay.
trailer.
I can share pictures later if you'd like.
Anyway, I just they've been fairly vocal about sending me stuff and I just want to know where we're at in the process so I can
Talked to
just
him
relay.
I've talked to him for quite some time. It's been going on for a few months. I hadn't heard from him since the email that was forwarded to me, so I'm not sure. I don't know if he was upset that I didn't react. There's nothing that we can do because it's a temporary RV. It doesn't
Yeah,
do anything with our
No,
office.
I agree. I don't think it's a building and planning
Yeah.
thing, but there,
But we did give him
maybe some
resources.
environmental,
I've
yeah.
transferred him to Andrea a couple times. With the septic problem, I think, and where he's not connected, I think that is an issue. I don't know. We'll see what environmental health does with it.
okay.
I want to back up just for a minute to the EVs program. And you mentioned Drew's Grocery up in Tootle. And then you said Cougar?
Yeah, their loan for in Cougar is looking to put some infrastructure up also for an EV station.
And that's a resort or is that, I didn't hear which location?
It's the
Trailer park?
gas station, the gas station.
Oh, gas,
there,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
I couldn't think
okay.
what it was called.
Okay, so the deal is a private enterprise wants help with getting grant monies to
It's a
install.
requirement, and then they have to use a third party to get the EV station. It's kind of like a trickle charger. You want to
Are-
be the first person that day.
Okay.
Are
And
you
are there-
asking,
are
did they
there
come
any-
to us?
The reason I'm asking is just geographic. Is there any site out on Ocean Beach Highway that would also qualify? So you have the three wings of the county that are,
We could look at one, West Longview,
you know,
outside city limits. I'd say the West Longview shop, but that's in the city, but right out thereafter, we could look into a place.
or the park, or will, it? Well, we don't know.
Well, they want to connect, they want to.
I was thinking the park, but that,
We can look at a place out there as well.
no.
We don't know that we'll be awarded, but we're gonna try and see what we get.
Okay.
So you bring up an issue. Were you asking, did the grocery store, gas station up in the Cougar area contact us or did we contact them?
They contacted us, right?
Cougar, we went out there and looked for somebody of interest, but up Spirit Lake Highway, Drew's Grocery contacted Public Works, who gave it to us. Yep.
Okay.
And we've reached out and we're working with them as well. So we've had both.
Okay. There aren't too many businesses out in West Longview that aren't in the city. I think the city's annexed pretty much most of
Most of
those,
it.
but,
Mhm. I think Mr. Bill's and the Baker's Corner are both city.
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
I think Adam became aware of the program and he thought of Cougar because you can actually pass Cougar, you can wind your way either into Packwood or down
Sure.
into the
Oh, yeah.
deal and he became aware of the program. So I think he kind of put feelers out there if anybody had any interest in it, that this was available.
It's a little bit of a stretch from Baker's Corner to downtown Cathlamet. It's another big long jump.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hero is going, geez, Mike never gave us the agenda today and then it shows up on my screen. Oh,
Paper version, you don't want to write notes or anything. I got pictures here of Storm Road trailer, which is on the agenda.
Ah,
Manufactured home, I should call it.
We've talked about this before, right? Because this is familiar and I'm going, what is this familiar?
Mike Moss, Public Services Director. We can go ahead and start with the Storm Road trailer since I gave you the picture there. Of course, this is the trailer we've got from the project we had on Storm Road, which is off of Tower Road or on the east side of Tower Road. That trailer's been vacant for a few years now, and that we're finally through the process of getting it ready to be sold. And so we're going to be using either public services surplus or gov deals, working with both those agents or companies to be able to auction this trailer off. We've had a few different neighbors out there interested in buying this manufactured home. It's a triple wide manufactured home, ADA compliant because of the residents that lived in it before. So we're hoping to get this on the market in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So time to get it off our lot over there. It's just slowly deteriorating since no one's been living it the last two or 3 years.
It's on Storm Road still, isn't it? And the road has been rebuilt
Yes, it has.
behind it?
So I'm confused. This is, you're going through an auction house or
Yeah.
you're going through a realtor,
Auction house to sell this one.
but not a realtor?
No, it's actually just because the property, we're keeping the property, it's just the manufactured home itself. Yeah, so we separate it from the tax parcel. So it just sits alone as a manufactured home, as personal property.
And what kind of fees does it cost us?
So the auction sites that we're looking at are anywhere between, I think it's actually for manufactured home is at 10%. Does that sound correct, Sean? Between the two. The two that we're looking at, the first one, public surplus, is actually who the treasurer's office utilizes for their tax foreclosure sales and has a contract with them. And then Gov Deals is a pretty popular one, and that's through a state contract. So both of them charge about the same. There's just a little bit different look and feel to each of the sites, and it will be an online auction, so it won't be an in-person. However, we're looking at doing a published tour for anybody interested who'd like to walk the property. So we'll be doing that as well.
So, and the number was it 10%?
Would be
Either
their
one of them?
cut. Yes, is what we're looking at. We haven't got to the fine details because we're still in the process of selecting a vendor. Once we know, we'll bring it back to this board.
And we're still working on the minimum bid. We're probably going to range between 10 to 20,000, I'm guessing, for the minimum bid. We'll go from there. So it's not a huge money maker for the county. It's mainly getting it off of the property for us, but also giving some use to somebody else rather than the county.
Yeah. Then they're responsible for moving it and all that.
That's correct.
Any responsibility for site cleanup, or is that all us?
That'll be on us at that point. Yeah. We've left power on, of course, and water. So we were up there last week to do a quick tour inside. There's no bad smells or anything, even though it's been vacant for a while. We've had the heat on during the winter months. So this is mainly just a FYI that'll be going out soon, because I think some neighbors have reached out maybe to a commissioner or two in the past. So.
And the outbuilding is gone already.
Yes, yes. Okay, so Savannah Clement with Public Services. We'll move on to the chaplaincy lease space options. We were approached, actually, facilities maintenance manager Will Tosted was approached by a member of the chaplaincy group, actually just out on the grounds, showing interest in maybe some annex space lease options. So Will did give this gentleman a tour, and that he did mention, and I actually don't even have the person's name. It wasn't scheduled, but he did mention that that members of the board were aware that they may be touring. So we thought we would give the board more of an update on that. They have looked at the annex space. I believe the Compass space utilized there on the in the basement on the right-hand side. We haven't been contacted since, and we did not discuss any lease options, with pricing. So just wanted to make the board aware that that is being talked about, and they have been on site. I haven't heard anything else other than that. Do you want to go into River Suite? Okay. So I'll go ahead and let Mike and Sean discuss the River Suites lease. They've been working on that.
So we talked a few months ago about OPD's lease ending June 30th, which is what, soon. We're working with the landowner there, it's like a condo association, and I agree, Sean can help me out there, but he owns the first floor of River Suites. When we had this discussion with you three, we talked about, you guys gave us the direction to go back to maybe look at maybe other options for OPD. We really didn't find anything short-term or long-term until we figure out really a game plan of what we're doing with the Justice Center, the Hall of Justice, the Annex. That's why the steering committee's kind of been put in place. So, we need to find a home or keep them where they're at. And so currently we're working on a contract to come back to you guys for OPD to stay in River Suites. I know it's maybe some of your guys, maybe you're not your first option, but for now, we don't really have a better home for them, and they seem to be okay in that space. The rent is fairly reasonable in that location. So originally it was going to be a 5-year deal. We narrowed it down to a 3-year contract just because we want to shorten that window up there. There's some extension options in there if we want to utilize those or down the road. But we're hoping to get that in place in the month of July. We're working on that still with our prosecuting attorney's office, that contract. But before we get it to you guys, we want to make sure that was still maybe an option, a direction that you guys are okay with, the OPD staying in River Suites a few more years till we get this figured out of where everybody's going. So kind of a bigger topic just than just OPD, but that's the one that's really sitting in the forefront right now with the lease wise is OPD.
Last time I remember chatting with them, it sounded like it was working okay for them. They were happy over there.
Correct.
And the lease wasn't out of this world bad. Other than, is this the one where Doug had some concerns about the maintenance items?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's what we're working through now with Doug. Correct. And he turned it over to David in his office there to look through that.
Yeah.
Well, considering we don't have any other place for them to go, I guess we're kind of stuck. The escape clause is what, 30 days notice, or do we pay 3 years no matter what, or?
That was one of the sticking points also that we're working through right now. We had an out clause of 180 days.
I believe it's 180 days after 2 years.
So 6 months notice, which we would know, I think, way in advance of 6 months if we found a new home for them, because it'd take us many months to just get computers, IT, phones, all that stuff set up. So I don't think that would be out of the ordinary to have 180 days.
Yeah, I think 180 days is okay. So that's the escape clause with written notice and so forth.
I guess we should say
Right.
opt-out clause,
Well,
right?
That's what it was. They came back with a different term than that. And that's what we're working now with between our office and their office.
And I suspect, based on everything I've heard from the past, that they're really not terribly happy campers there, but when they face having to move in a month, they're quite happy right where they are.
Correct.
So after we sign this lease, I expect to hear, this isn't quite right.
Let's hope not.
And
We've
it-
toured the facility. I thought for a lease space, I thought it was an old medical office. So every room has a sink in it, but it's actually nice.
It was 80K a year, as I recall.
I could recall.
I believe the previous lease term was about that for the July 2022 to June 23.
How much? Oh, 8
Yeah,
How much?
I believe it was about 80K.
a year.
Or for the upcoming year.
Yeah. The contract that just ended. Yeah.
So
80.
Sorry, I'm trying not to do math live right now.
You know the monthly, don't you? So and the increase was not a huge increase from the past contract to this contract, what was offered, so. So I think the terms were good. It's just a matter of trying to get through the maintenance piece and also the out clause is what we're
Yeah.
working on.
Okay.
Yeah. It looked like they wanted to make us responsible for maintenance over the whole building.
At least the first floor, yes.
Yeah.
Which was a change of the original agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that still a bond property or?
No. Originally it was, yeah, but
Yeah.
they sold out. There's different owners on the second floor. I think there's many owners on the second floor.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. So that's why it's like almost like a condo association where someone may have their own office on the second floor, and it might be like 3 or 4 different people owning offices on that second floor. So.
I got you.
All right, we'll give you more information as we get there. So we're in a month to month now till we get you a contract. BHO lease update. I'll hand that back over to Savannah.
This is in regard to the CIHS, Community Integrated Health, that utilizes space at Courthouse Square, also under the umbrella of the BHO. I actually just received contact from them on Friday about wanting to meet this week. So that's good. I think that's progress as far as trying to come to terms with a lease. So that's all the information I have. Hopefully to have more information next week after we meet with them as a group. So that's all I have on that.
So this was the lease option that where they come in and continue working with their clients
Correct.
who happen to be incarcerated. They're not providing a service to the jail other than indirectly that they're helping.
Yes.
Helping some of those clients that are undergoing treatment.
So just to recap, they have utilized one office location at Courthouse Square right next to the jail. They're looking to expand that space to a second office location. And then it was kind of discussed, well, they don't have a current lease and they're not paying anything, and that's where this evolved. So they did have an option of utilizing a shared space at no cost, as Doug mentioned previously a couple months back. They didn't want to utilize that option. So they do want office space that's specific to their organization.
Then we have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Dennis, do you have an opinion on what we should do about that?
I think, we've been talking about the fact that we just have more and more mental health needs in the jail. And this is one of the local agencies that'll provide service there. And if we've got the space, I don't have a concern. Because they're providing a benefit to the county by helping these people maintain their treatment.
Yeah, I'm having a harder time with that. What you say is true. I don't know how many dollars all that is. I do know that I have a little difficulty with the BOH because they're trying to expand, and I can't tell the difference between the BOH and the CIHS. Both boards are identical. Okay, thank you.
The next item, we have an on-call electrical contract on the motion items for tomorrow. Sean's been working with the landfill for electrical service needs at the landfill, and he'll give you just a quick overview of what the needs are for this larger contract.
So we did go out to bid for electrical services at the landfill. We received 4 bids back.
Sean, I'm having a hard time.
Oh,
hearing.
sorry, let me get a little closer in here.
Yeah, you have to be about 3 inches away from that.
And speak, not
Verbal.
mumble.
Sorry. So we had gone out for bids for electrical services at the headquarters landfill for on-call basis. We received 4 bids back. The most complete and lowest bid was through AET. So we're going to have a motion item on there for a not to exceed value of $150,000. This is quite a large value. Historically, we've done about $60,000 a year, but we want to be able to have those services available to us. Currently, what we do is we go out and get our 3 quotes per each job, and that really delays the process. On site, that site was built in the early 90s. It does have some aging infrastructure in there. We have a lot of low voltage communication systems. We have quite a few control systems for the pumps, motors, and flare systems that are pretty timely, needing repairs if it goes down. And then additionally, all of our generators and our auto backup systems. If there is an issue, we'd like to be able to make a phone call instead of having to go through the process of getting 3 bids on each project, which delays that. And we want to make sure that that operation is running efficiently. So like I had said previously, the last 2 years, we were about $60,000 a year. We did have some lightning damage up there earlier this year. And so we're a little bit higher. We expect for the year end on those services. And then we want to have an additional value available in case there's an emergency need.
Do we run into or subject to if we're down for a while and we don't fix it because we're landfill, environmental penalties and concerns and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, so especially on the flare side, we don't want to release gases into the system or into the air system without getting combusted. The leachate, we do have a little bit more capacity, but if it's a high rain event at that time, we won't have as much capacity available.
I can't recall, out of the leachate pond, is that gravity fed or pump, gravity emptied or pump emptied?
It's both. So we have 2 pumps that push it the first about mile, and then after that is gravity fed down to 3 rivers.
And what's the capacity of the ponds with respect to, I lost my power, how long can I go without?
So the total capacity of the ponds is about 5 million gallons.
Doesn't
Yeah,
tell me anything.
we run.
Yeah.
We maintain about 10 to 8 feet of volume in one pond at a time. So that leaves us about 3 million gallons of capacity at any point in time, which should last pretty long in a summer event. You know, it's going to last all summer pretty much. But in a high rain volume, that could last about 3 to 4 days.
How many gallons per minute do we pump out of there on a normal?
On a high,
A high flow is at 400 and some gallons per minute.
Mhm. So we have
doing
a maximum pump per day of 648,000 gallons. And that's at our both pumps running full volume.
So 650,000 gallons at full volume, you have 5 million gallons. If you start empty, you'd have, if you're down for 9 days, you'd be full, but we don't start completely empty. So,
Yeah,
Mhm.
so like a week would be
yeah. And I don't really have any way to prove it, but I wonder if, because we're giving you a little more capacity on this side to act right now versus, hey, we're down, we got to be up in 9 days, we need bids, and the bids are going to reflect that emergency.
Mhm.
I don't have a way to prove that, but
that's true.
I'm thinking,
We've been in that position.
yeah,
It's been very expensive.
Mhm.
And the sediment is regularly cleaned out, so we don't get overloaded.
Yeah.
Electric.
We'll be cleaning again this summer. We take the ponds down to empty and clean the sludge out from the bottom and fill them back up. Yeah.
Lesson learned on that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So included in your thinking on this, it's not just maintenance, right? It's you've got some upgrading plans. So in some sense, it is maintenance improvements.
Yes. So, you know, I'm not a professional electrician. I don't know what's wrong out there. I'm going to have to ask, or staff will need to ask or get some recommendations as well.
Yeah, my angle is I think there would be a lot of things I would use this opportunity at the landfill to clean up, automate.
Yeah, proactive on certain items, switches for automatic generator startups. Yeah, that's all going to be included in this.
And make sure that information is maybe available at your office or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Because right now, all of our information store it had to be on the screen in the office there at the landfill. Like to have that technology down at our spot. It'd be nice to be able to walk in your office or actually maybe on your mobile device to see exactly what the pond levels are at and not have to be actually in the office to see what the pond levels are at.
Most of that is not electrical in
No,
that
it's not.
sense, but Then you mentioned the flaring, that depends on having electricity.
It does. And the control systems, the PLCs that control the vacuum pull, the amount of gas going through each stack to burn off at that time. Those are all system controls and through the electrical system.
Yeah, they're very low consumption of power though,
Mhm.
except for maybe the valve controller.
On a consumption side, it's definitely very low. It's the technical aspect of, that PLC's down. We need to get that fixed in that control system, and that would be covered under this.
Yeah. So if power goes out, even as we speak, is there an automatic takeover
On the flare,
by the generators over the entire facility?
correct, yes.
Okay. Anyhow, you get from my questions, I think there's good stuff there that can be done.
Mhm. Yeah, great. So like I said, that's a motion item for tomorrow. The next one is the Pleasant Hill Road Bridge consultant agreement. That's actually on the consent agreement agenda tomorrow. As you guys recall, back in 2021, we lost Pleasant Hill Bridge. It's actually a culvert at that time. And we have our temporary bridge in place. Susan and her staff's been working with a consulting firm to actually went out to qualifications, got 5 firms to respond to that. They picked OTAK, OTAK. They're actually currently working on the bridges on Allender Road and Riderwood for us, doing the consulting out there for us. It's a fairly large project, as you can see, 2.5 million. Most of it's FEMA funding, 87.5% between FEMA and the Washington Emergency Management Division, so only $317,000 of local funds. So this contract's for about, contracts for $231,000 for them to be our engineering team on this. So the plan is still to try to get it done in 2024 when I visited with staff this morning, but there's a chance it's going to be 2025. Doing the permitting and everything we have to do to get it ready to be built. But they are still optimistic to be a 2024 build date for this temporary, or not temporary, but to replace the temporary bridge on Pleasant Hill Road. So that's on the agenda tomorrow. And we do have engineers. Susan's gone this week, but we have Chris Andrews, the lead engineer on this project. He'll be online tomorrow. If you guys have any questions from the consent side on this.
This is the road repair that is redundant. It's not needed, but the county was told they have to replace it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we could have put a culvert, it was a 10-foot culvert. We could have just put a 10-foot culvert back in, but the state would not allow us to do that. So that's I think it's a true span of 80 feet. So it's a fairly large replacement of a 10-foot culvert. Yes.
Would have been a lot cheaper just to make them dead end roads. And rehabilitate the stream for
Yeah.
passage, but
Yeah.
$2.5 million, I guess. They've got.
I haven't heard
Most
any
of it's in waste.
complaints
I
about the
spent-
temporary bridge.
No.
No, we've had a few accidents on it. I think we're up to 8 accidents on that bridge, running the stop sign, mainly going northbound and hitting the structure. Moving fast enough to move the ecology blocks around, do some damage to the guardrails on that bridge. So just recently, we put down some bumper stops so people will run over those. We have signs, of course, saying, stop ahead and stuff, but we thought actually of a spot, maybe putting one of our speed humps in that location, also going northbound to really get people to slow down before they hit that bridge. So 8 accidents in a year and a half, whatever it's been.
I use it all the time. And I guess because the way it kind of humps up, if they're going too fast, it's probably going to throw them off. But
Most of them don't even make
we
it to
shouldn't
that.
have guardrails, Mike. We just, because I see the list of money we lose on guardrails because
Yeah.
people don't
Yeah.
pay for
Yeah.
them, just let them go off. I mean,
Most people don't even hit the guardrails when they get there. Most of the accidents, there's a few that hit the guardrail. Most of it's the approaches before the guardrail.
I think
They're
they're
going so
bumper
fast,
cars
they
out
hit
there.
Yeah. And we talked about storm roads. The last item we have, I think Sean's got a handout, is the equipment purchase update. Last budget cycle season, we got approval from you guys. It's great from the board to buy a few things. Unfortunately, prices have gone up a lot. So now we're coming to you guys asking for authority to move forward to some purchasing of things that are gone up. But at the same point, we're going to take a few things off the list to make it so we're actually not going to spend as much money as we originally planned. So overall, the savings is about $61,000, a number on the bottom right-hand corner, but we'll start at the top here. ER&R fund. It's a 10-yard dump truck. The current budget we got approved for last year was $230,000. The base price of that has already increased $43,000. And we usually add a plow system and sanding unit on later. But today we're just going to try to ask for it all together. And the current price then is $340,000. So it's up 110, not up $110,000, but really up $43,000 from what we asked for you guys last budget cycle season, which is not unheard of. Most of our equipment's going that direction. We're actually having team meetings now to figure out what we can live with, what we can't live without, because we're not getting tons more revenue in the public works world than our funds. So how do we consolidate? How do we work together as a team to share equipment better? Because we're just going to get priced out of buying new things or buying all brand new stuff down the road or replacing what we currently have on our schedule to get replaced. Just because the dollar amounts aren't going to be there for us to replace everything down the road because it's getting so costly for new equipment right now. So doing that, the next item down was a 5-yard dump and the third item down is a broom. We decided at this point here to not purchase those two items, look at those closer the next couple of years, but we had to have some cost savings in place of buying equipment that's much more than we originally planned. Yes, Commissioner.
I'm still trying to digest the numbers of the
Yep.
first block. Am I to infer like on the 5-yard dump truck that you are not going to buy one?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, that's what you mean by that.
And the broom, the one below it. We
So-
took both those items out of this year's cycle.
So you're gonna save us $61,700 by not buying something that you thought you needed, but you don't need now?
Well, not need, or we actually talked about with teams, right? We're going to start sharing and consolidating a little bit differently. Instead of everybody having their own something out, maybe at their shop, we looked at hours. Sean spent a lot of time in the last 2 months looking at hours and actually breaking down, okay, if we have 10 pieces of equipment, say 10-yard dump trucks, we have 12 of them. Each shop has 4 shops times 3. We look at how many times is there 12 on the road, how many times 10 on a road, how many times there's 8 on the road on any given day. And there was only so many occasions in the last 3 years that we used more than 10-yard dump trucks. So, and 5-yard dump trucks and 4 yards. He did to each of the piece of equipment. So we kind of get a magic number. Hey, we know for sure we need 8 because on snow plowing season or chip seal season, we need that many. But do we need that many all the time? Or can we share and have more at our central shop as a central location rather than every shop having their own and pulling from that central shop? And that's one of the reasons that the 5-yard and the broom is just backed out for now. Not because we didn't see a need, is because now I think we have to do business a little bit differently than we've done in the past because we just don't have the money to buy and everybody has their own and play with their own.
So in
Which
the
is a whole new
past,
concept.
we wanted every shop ready to go.
Yep.
And now we're saying, hey, we're willing to sacrifice that a hair.
Yeah, as long as we, and plowing seasons, everybody refers back to that. Well, you need all your trucks out at once. Well, we go in tandems. Everybody has a partner out there out the road. So every shop, even though we have 8 people working at it, we usually don't have more than 4 pieces of equipment out at once because they have a buddy riding with them. One person drives, the other one's a spotter. The other's the shotgun riders also gets out with a chainsaw that cuts things out of the way. So the driver gets to stay in that seat and then they get tired. They trade off because a lot of times they're in 12-hour shifts plowing and they need to trade back and forth. So to have all this equipment on hand, it's not really going to slow down any of our wintertime response because we don't have the bodies to get every single thing out at one time anyway.
Just to talk a little bit more about the usage, a 5-yard dump truck, we use 10 yards a lot more and we're not, we will be getting a new 10-yard. The 5-yard specifically, we only use during certain instances, mainly on smaller roads that we can't turn around a 10-yard dump truck on for plowing purposes really only. So those 5 yards, they're built with the same setup as a 10-yard and they're pretty spendy, but they just have a smaller bed. So we don't use them as much. So we kind of looked at that as well. Where a 10-yard, we kind of get more bang for our buck than a 5-yard. And you know, that's not to say that we won't replace these down the road, just we're not planning on doing them anytime soon with the current costs. So,
Well, and it probably changes your repair versus new type thing, because the point where they become more expensive to keep repairing is getting builds out because of the increased price of new.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So moving on, if you want to, down the other items, I'll go through it fairly quickly. I know we're after the lunch break here, but trailer one, it was already in the system for 40 grand. That's a huge increase, $17,000 from last fall till now. And then we're starting to move equipment around more often, like I talked about, sharing, and which requires us to have another trailer to move equipment from one shop to the other. Right now, we're one trailer short. And so by not buying those other items, we'd like to buy 2 trailers this year, one that was scheduled and one that wasn't scheduled. So overall, it's quite a savings on the road fund side. The next 4 items are motor pool, which is parks, facilities, and water sewer. All of those are items that were budgeted in the fall, but had those price increases, a $10,000 price increase for the truck for parks, $2,300 increase for the mower at parks, and then facilities trucks and water sewer trucks both are quite a bit up to 50,000. We just took delivery, I believe, 2 weeks ago of a Ford XL.
Yeah, so this was a Ford F-150 XL. It's an extended cab, 4-wheel drive, and it was just shy of $48,000.
And it's plain Jane.
This base model.
You still got to roll up your window.
I think they had a power, but they have a power package.
Package on these is standard,
But
so
that's off state contract, and we're paying $48,000 for not even a crew cab, like an extended cab, white with black vinyl cloth or
Mhm.
vinyl flooring, vinyl seats. Basic as you can get, it's $48,000 for that truck. So it's just price increase has been incredible.
Well, that's why I say the cost of repair starts to come in, because the cost of new
Yeah.
is going to push service
Push it
life
out.
out on these things. Just so I understand the scale of these trailers. So we don't do another broom. So if we had to haul the broom, it goes on this trailer and we haul it out. That's the scale of
Yep.
these trailers.
Yep,
Okay.
triple axle.
yeah,
Yeah,
30-ton triple axle tilt trailers.
So it can hold that big excavator.
Oh, it
you're gonna
does
let
hold
me
those
play in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It does. So overall, it's $61,000. I would say savings, but it's a savings because we're not buying certain things. Saving a difference really from what we currently budgeted from last fall. The one last time we had 2024, we kind of the sheriff's office, comes in here ahead of time to ask for certain vehicles because the window opens up. Knowing the price increases that we have 4 really old dump trucks, and that even though if we're sharing, one of them, they still need to go. They're called Sterlings. They only make Sterlings. They haven't made Sterlings for years. It's a brand that hasn't been around. It's really hard to find parts for. We have 2 that actually don't run right now.
Mhm.
One that we have currently that's approved to get replaced this year, one that was going to get approved for next year. Knowing the price increase is that we've seen, we would like to get a green light to get in the queue to buy it, even though it won't be delivered to next year, to get that 10-yarder in place. We have 2 other Sterlings that probably will just be not utilized as much, and we'll probably go to the boneyard sooner or later, and we won't get replacing those anytime soon. But we're just afraid that as bad as the price increases that they've been, that we may want to get in line sooner than later, but I'll leave that up to you guys to decide.
So you would have plans to have this in the budget for next year anyways?
Yes. Yeah, it would be in
And
our fall.
What you're telling
request.
us is you're hoping to get it placed at 340 instead of coming back and saying, oh, no, they've gone up to 440.
Yeah. And we've heard rumors of that because of some requirements on the diesel side.
Yeah, so Washington State may be adopting the new CARB requirements, which is for engine efficiencies on diesel trucks. And that could increase the price significantly on those cabin chassis that we purchase.
Oregon and California has already adopted that, and
They
we
have,
usually follow that pretty closely. Washington State does when those states make those changes. And we've been warned by numerous companies that when that happens, that all our diesel projects, no matter if it's CAT or Freight Line or whoever we buy from, is going to pass those costs on to us. And that one you can sit on for a day. I mean, you don't have to make a decision on the 2024 one. We can come back in a couple of weeks if you want to ponder on that one at all. But we do on the ones above, the 2023 ones would be nice to say, yeah, move ahead forward with the ones that have the price increases and the new one on the trailer. But once again, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide.
So you're basically asking for a $61,700 increase in expenditures.
Decrease. Decrease.
But all of your general or all of your
Oh.
road fund expenses are higher costs, right?
So overall, when we look at the total package, it would be a $61,700
Right,
decrease.
but you can't use road fund dollars for parks and sewer and water.
Correct. So
Sewer
they-
and water comes out of their own reserves.
Yep.
Parks and facilities is out of the general fund.
correct. And so. we
Okay,
do-
I would just want to make sure.
And I do want to clarify that they do have adequate reserves within the motor pool to cover that increase. And so would it be directly to the general fund?
Just we're using it this year rather than
Yep.
when you plan to use it next year.
So it'll be a budget amendment at a certain point. So if you break down the top 5 items out of ER&R and the bottom 4 from motor pool, yeah, you know, there's a savings on the roadside, but the motor pool fund, it'd be like $27,000 increase in their pricing. But overall, the package is 61 grand, but you're correct. If you break those down, it's different.
Mhm.
Well, I like the idea of buying now when the prices are going to be better than waiting until we schedule it when we know the prices are going to go up.
And they guarantee the price once you put the order.
They do. That did not happen in the CAT world.
So on these ones, when we cut the PO, the price is guaranteed. On our CAT equipment, the larger landfill equipment, they do not guarantee the price until we take delivery.
And that had quite a bit of price increase by the time we ordered it to delivery date, which was next. Actually, part of the CAT compactor is in Longview already. The rest of it's supposed to deliver in the next week, and we'll have it put together at the landfill, hopefully by the end of July.
Mhm.
And that's $1.7 million
The estimate, yeah.
for a compactor. It was
Fortunately, the
1.2 million.
revenue, fortunately, the revenue stream is a little bit better for the landfill than it is for the road fund.
But just in 2019, that same exact model 836 compactor was $1.2 million. So it went up $500,000 in the 4 years. Crazy.
So for the new equipment, you're gonna put charging stations all over the landfill also?
Yeah. I laugh, but he likes to be first. He's ticked at California and Oregon, got ahead of him on this other one, so.
Well, I've heard some horror stories about tractors and other heavy equipment trying to go on a battery, and it just doesn't pencil out even in the most optimistic scenario.
Yeah. So I'm hearing some interest that we're okay with him ordering that one to keep the price.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. Maintenance just said, just an update. They came about now 6 weeks ago, gave you a project update with a spreadsheet. They plan on doing that next Monday, July 3rd, as long as we're still having a meeting. I know 4th of July on Tuesdays canceled, so I don't know if we're gonna have a quorum on Monday or, nope, okay. So plan that for the following Monday, July 10th.
So it's not July 3rd, July 10th.
It'll be July 10th. Yeah, I penciled that in thinking we're going to meet next Monday. But we're
You
not,
just want to prove to us you're a good guy. You'll work on the 3rd.
baby here. Cool. Great. And that's all we have unless you guys have some miscellaneous items for us today.
Don't.
You might be interested, I don't know if you missed it earlier today. The chairman was thinking of having a presentation or a meeting with the CFM and people.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And
And bring Susan along and yes.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I've
other
had
projects.
some conversations with them and also our state reps and senators, just kind of having a town hall. What I'm leading up to is I've also had conversation with Luce and Camp Perez's people. So if I can get some others to do it, maybe it'd be fun to just, I think it'd be good for the county. We just have them sit with us and talk over county issues,
Yeah.
state and federal issues, and how we all work together, and then let the audience bring some questions in that relate to that.
Good idea.
and after Susan gets back, we'll talk about that email with the
Yes,
3
right.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she will be back July 3rd.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I know. Very, very,
Either doing something really wrong or really
okay. I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.